Tomorrow, an American astronaut named Mark Vande Hei is going to break the American record for continuous days in space, 430. He's due to come home in a Russian Soyuz capsule, and that's scheduled for March 30th, which would be day 355. And he would like to leave it at that. But the war in Ukraine and punishing sanctions from the West have put the head of Russia's space program in a less than cooperative spirit. The war was just hours old when he said this, quote, "If you block cooperation with the U.S. or with us, if you block cooperation with us, who will save the International Space Station from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States or Europe?" Very funny. Chilling, actually, as was a propaganda video of Russian cosmonauts waving goodbye to the stranded American. Today, Elon Musk, no less, announced that SpaceX would bring Vande Hei home if the Russians did not. To be clear, it is not certain that Russia won't do it, but it wasn't certain that Russia was going to invade Ukraine either. And here we are. Joining me again to talk about all of this are Michael Isikoff and David Frum, and we're very happy to welcome Dr. Jeffrey Hoffman. He is a former astronaut. He's the first to log 1,000 hours in a space shuttle, and he's now an aeronautics professor at MIT. So, Dr. Hoffman, I'll get you to lead off this question. Are the Russians bluffing? Are they joking? Or is this really plausible?
Well, first of all, I should say that Mark is in no danger. The ISS is perfectly capable of supporting him for as long as he has to stay up there. He's a professional. We should think back to Sergei Krikalev. He was the famous Soviet cosmonaut who was up during the fall of the Soviet Union. And so for political reasons, he ended up staying a lot longer and came back to a different country. So yeah, politics can affect space. You asked me to predict what the Russians are going to do after having said on so many occasions that every time we've predicted that they wouldn't do something, they did it. So I'm not going to try to make a prediction. But as I say, Mark is in no danger. We'll get him home. But, Mr. Rogozin, the head of Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, he has really crossed the line as far as any acceptable etiquette for international cooperation. I mean, we have laws of astronaut safety that are part of the Outer Space Treaty, the rescue of astronauts, and to suggest leaving somebody stranded in space, even though they're in no physical danger, goes against all forms of cooperation. Right.
Yeah, as said astronaut Scott Kelly, that just absolutely, crossed the line. So, David Frum, let me ask you about this. 20 years of peaceful partnerships in a space program. It's just sort of mind-boggling to think that this is just all going to almost literally come apart. As we mentioned, the Russian side of the ISS and the American side, they can't. They're mutually exclusive. They can't work without each other. This is just sort of unbelievable.
Vladimir Putin's mistress and their children live in France. Foreign Minister Lavrov's mistress and her daughter live in London. There are almost all of the Russian elite have their children and their friends living outside of Russia. So they are not going to win a game of hostage taking. They really aren't. And I think everything they do, everything they say has to be understood through this prism. That the reason they talk the way they do is because of the weakness of their position. Their financial position is crumbling. Their economic position is crumbling. They're stuck in a war they can't win. And so what we want to get to a peaceful resolution, but we always need to be mindful of the desperation of their position, the strength of the position of the West. It really is as if a country with an economy the size, a little bigger than South Korea, a little smaller than Italy, about the size of Canada, decided to make war on the entire world. Norm Macdonald has a sketch about the Kaiser's Germany in 1914 declaring war on the world, and the joke is that it was close. Russia is declaring war on the world, and it won't be close.
Yeah, I've got about 10 seconds left, but Michael Isikoff, just this notion that Elon Musk and SpaceX may come to the rescue, that's quite something.
It does sound like a plot for a Hollywood movie. It's probably already been made by now, I would think, but certainly we can all hope that this guy is going to make it back safely.
Amen to that. Great to have all three of you, Michael Isikoff, David Frum, and Dr. Jeffrey Hoffman. Thank you all three for your insights tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.